Hi bros, what's up? My name is Mateen and welcome to the new video. Today I'm going to talk about some specific topic, something interesting and also maybe disturbing. I don't know, I'm not sure. Let's talk about it. If you've been a human lately, like literally having a cell phone, you know that what's happening in Iran probably, and you know the protests and massacre of Iranian people and how the government is corrupt and 47 years of oppression and all the things I speak in two last videos that I created, and both of them was in English. If you didn't watch them, you can just go and pay them a visit. But today I'm going to discuss a topic that is, I don't know, how can I describe it? You know how I explained to you in the previous videos that how corrupt and how wicked this regime is. But interestingly, if you open regime's media, you see all these big rallies, all these like people, pro-Islamic Republic people gathered together chanting death to America, death to Israel, death to literally every other country on the map. And they say we want war, we won the war, and like we beat the shit out of US and all these stuff. And this is something called propaganda, or in Islamic Republic it's another step further. It's brainwash and also money involved. So today I want to go in depth and explain to you how Iranian regime, Islamic Republic regime propaganda and brainwash system works. You know why? Because I came from that country. I lived in that country. I was educated in that system for a few years before I moved to Canada. So I really know in depth that how that thing works. So first of all, everywhere you go, like every authoritarian government, every dictatorship government, every like official government offices or official buildings or even private stores like merchants and everyone is encouraged to have a picture of Khamenei and Khomeini on the wall. And I said government building is law. You have to have those in every single office room that they have. They have a big picture of Khamenei and Khomeini, or in some cases only Khomeini, because at that time Khamenei wasn't dead. Right now Khamenei is dead. So they have to include that. So this is only the official buildings, including schools, hospitals, government buildings like embassies, or embassies in other countries obviously, but other branches of government, courts and everything. And despite all that, on the banners, on the billboards throughout the city, Tehran, Shiraz, Isfahan, or other cities, Tabriz, every city, Iran is a big country. Iran is like, 90 million people live in Iran. And all those billboards and, ad placement have a picture of Khamenei or Khomeini, or a political quote, or something against US or Israel. And also, I remember there was a square in Tehran. It was called Palestine Square, or it was like a roundabout, but it's like different system. In US there's not a lot of roundabouts, but in Europe and Iran there is. So that roundabout was called Palestine, and in that square or roundabout was a sign that said how many days left until we destroy Israel. It was like, I remember when there's a lot of power outages in Iran, so whenever the power was cut, that sign would reset, and that's not really like a real sign obviously, but it was like 4,000 and a few days until we destroy We wiped Israel from the map. I'm not here to discuss is Israel a good country or bad country, because that turns my opinion into the video, so I don't want that. I'm just speaking of facts. And you can see the picture. That's something you see throughout every part of in Iran. It's not like one city or one neighborhood. It's everywhere. So of course there's like regular ads on the billboards, but you also see these pretty frequently actually. So you see, this is one of the first thing that every part in the system of your life is designed to hate other countries, to obey that wicked system. One other thing, this is actually much more deeper than this. You see, okay, everyone who's driving in the street is adult and they know these are ads and propaganda, so they wouldn't believe in them, right? Yes, but this other topic that I'm going to discuss is not like that. In the kindergartens and in the elementary schools in Iran, basically everything related to religion that they teach, or literacy, or other things, is also somehow tied to Islamic Republic propaganda. For example, this is like personal experience that I have. One day I remember when I was in kindergarten in Tehran, there was a day that I showed up to the kindergarten, to our class, and our teacher said, okay everyone, today we are going to burn American flag. And she said it so passionately that, I mean, we were only, I don't know, 5, 6 maybe, and we believed those things, that okay, America is the devil in the world, Israel is the same as UK. UK was also a subject to be chanted like death to UK also, for some reason, I don't know. And we went in the basement of, it's not like, it was like parking, in the parking of that apartment, and it was an apartment that they turned into kindergarten. We went to the parking and it was like a huge American flag, I don't know, like 40 inches something, and on the paper, and we burned that, and everyone was jumping on it. And you know, it's not like those kids aren't guilty. Those are being injected with propaganda to hate a country that they don't know even like where that country is. If they ask them, okay, since you're burning that country's flag, where is that country? They wouldn't know to answer. We wouldn't know to answer, because you know, they didn't taught us what is America, like what country is it, how many people live there, how the culture is, or like I don't know anything about that. They only taught us that we have to hate Israel and hate USA, and we burned that American flag. And as an assignment, they told us that go on your rooftops, because it's like, you know, it's apartment and most people in Iran have access to the rooftops or in the parkings, and burn Israeli flag. This was an assignment given to us, and you know, my parents allowed me to, because they knew if they open up to discuss this is wrong, I would speak up in the kindergarten, and this would be a problem. They would call that, what did you tell your kids about this? And they did not want any headache. So it wasn't, I think in grade 3 or grade 2 that I started noticing that, okay, this government is really wrong. And you know, if you pay attention to the detail of how these are implemented into brains, you see that these people that go to streets pro-Islamic Republic people, it kind of makes sense. It's a choice that you want to give up to that propaganda, or have a mind and think for yourself and to see that, okay, this is wrong. One other thing that we were taught, it was religious teachings from Quran, from prophets and stories of prophets, Islam and everything, you know. And even those were designed and kind of edited in a way that they represent fighting with other countries or fighting with evil that was represented as US or Israel. So even religious teachings was tied to political perspectives of the regime that, you know, designed that whole system. And here's a video, I will put a subtitle under it.
کره زمین میچرخه به سمت خورشید. هر رویی که از این بچه‌ها بیاد به سمت خورشید میگه من روزم شد. بچه‌ها ما خورشید رو گذاشتیم روی نماد عکس حضرت آقا. آره حضرت آقا امام خامنه‌ای ولی فقیه ما هستن، مثل خورشیدن، نایب امام زمانن. هر کس به ایشون نزدیک شد، بصیرت داشت، وارد چی میشه؟ روشنایی میشه، هدایت میشه. هر کس از ایشون رو برگردون چه اتفاقی براش میفته؟ میره داخل تاریکی، توی تاریکی و گمراهی میره.
So in that video you saw that they're teaching about planets and sun and everything, and they represent brightness, righteousness, being good. As Khamenei, like the guy, Hitler, literally have his notebook open and taking note from what this guy did throughout his 37 years of, you know, governing people in Iran. And you know, they put it in a way that this guy is the true righteousness, is the true heir to God and true representative of 12 Imam of Shia, which is like Mahdi. Mahdi is known to be like a messiah, and he's not dead, and he's like taken by God, and he will be back one day. Same as like Jesus' story, but you know, this is like Islamic Shia version of it. So that was something for itself. You know, even history that they teach in school in other grades, about like Iranian history, you know, Iranian history is really, really long and rich and, you know, a few thousand years. Even those are edited and changed, and you know, especially the past like 100 years religion is really edited to make Pahlavi, which was the previous government before Islamic regime, the true evil in the world, and make Islamic Republic as a messiah or a savior to Iranian people, which was quite the opposite, because, you know, Pahlavi turned Iran to a modern Iran. Before that, it was called Qajar, which was still feudalism in Iran, and you know, that whole system, that's like so wrong. It's not like that far. It's like in 1930s or 1940s. It's not like 200 years ago. That's like less than 100 years ago. And you know, the Pahlavi was the one that turned Iran to a modern country. You know, the modern system, modern schooling, modern like voting system and stuff. And you know, Pahlavi had its flaws like every other countries. I'm not saying it was like perfect, because that would be also biased. But the fact that this regime came to work, it was believed to be by US and UK propaganda. They use faith, they use religion to show Shah as like a bad man, evil man, not religious man, and bring Khomeini, which was a religious leader, to, we can say, religious leader. And also saying that this guy Khomeini, this is a quite dark fact, that he wrote a book about how things in religion work. So if you have like a religious question that what should I do in that situation, you can go to that book and see what it says. In that book, he gave permission that you can have sexual relationship with infants if you have a sexual desire for them, you can do that. And if they are not above a certain age, you can touch them passionately. Like, this is so like wrong even talking about. Imagine, so that guy allowed this, and you know, this is only a glimpse of how this regime is, and how this regime is ruling for over 47 years in Iran. So imagine what happens in the prisons, what happens to those who are getting tortured. I put a video that it was like a girl was reading a story about her relatives getting arrested by Islamic Republic and getting gang raped by regime thugs. You know, they see that they have that right to do these things because they are told that Islam allowed these. If you capture a prisoner in war, you can do whatever you want to do with that. That's even wrong in Islam, you know? Go and read like Quran. I'm telling to those guys, go and read the whole Quran, not like a verse. That's selective morality. Go read the whole thing and then see, is that really a right thing to do? Is raping someone right thing to do? You know, I've been taught Quran, I've been taught Bible, and I studied like other religions also, Hinduism or Buddhism and other stuff in Canada. None of these, even Islam that they say, allow these horrible acts. So this is using Islam as a cover-up, as an excuse to do most inhumane stuff to people who may not believe in the same thing that you believe in. You know, in a free government, people are allowed to have opinions. You know, some guy is leftist, some guy is like rightist, some guy is liberal, some other is conservative, and we all coexist together. That's why we have a federal government. You know, there's different political parties. In Canada, there's even a communist party. Even there's a marijuana party that, I mean, they don't get enough vote to come into parliament, but that exists legally. But in Iran, anything against that is illegal, and they eradicate that opposition if that exists in Iran. So this was also something. One other thing is how Iranian young adults and youth are being pulled toward that militarism. You know, in Iran, there is a 2-year military service, or if you meet certain conditions, you can reduce it to 14 months, but majority is 2 years. I didn't go to that service because, you know, I came to Canada. Thank God. But Iranian young people have to do that because, you know, the guy Khamenei or Khomeini before that said we need soldiers. If this is not tyranny, tell me what is it? That you have to waste best years of your life, most productive years of your life to go to like mandatory military service. This is wrong in, I don't care which country has this, which European country has this, or which Asian country has this. This is wrong. So some guy come up and say, okay, Finland has mandatory military service. Finland has everything to guarantee a future for that young person that goes into mandatory military after he leaves the army or not. But in Iran, it's not like that. You have to work your ass off for nothing. You cannot buy a car, you cannot pay the rent, even owning a house is like, poof, don't even think about that. You cannot even buy groceries right now. So imagine, despite all that pressure on you, on your family, on your relatives, you have to also live for 2 years and serve a military that you don't even believe in, you know? Military and being a soldier, part of it, you believe in that thing. You know, in World War II, it wasn't mandatory for US citizens to get enlisted in the military. But there was also propaganda on that to attract those people. But you know, those people went to war because they believed in something. They believed, okay, Hitler was bad and it's a risk for our country and we have to go and fight and help like UK and other things. But the people in Iranian military right now, especially those who get drafted in like 18 or 19 or 17 even, they do not mostly believe in those things. And you know, that just ruins your life. You waste 2 years of your best years because some guy decided that you have to go. Obviously, some other people decide to stay, and those who decide to stay, they really have to give up their morality because, you know, here comes a protest and you are ordered to shoot the very people, you know, your neighbor. This is an order. And, you know, at some points, you're going to sit and say, what have I done? How many people I killed? Because that was just an order. You know, this is how the militarism in Iran works. You know, this is something they always brag about. Oh, we have the best missiles. Not right. Best ground forces. Also not right. One of the other things is putting too much emphasis on Western countries' mistakes. So imagine US makes a mistake in something, anything. Tomorrow of that, one day later, it's on the Iranian news. Look at these imbeciles. They did this mistake. Like, bro. I'm not here to say US is a good country or bad country. US has many flaws, but it's much better place compared to Iran. So, you know, these people who joke about US and their mistake has no right to tell because, you know, their government doesn't meet certain requirements to do that, you know. One of the other things in the oppression forces is called Basij, Sepah, Niruy Intizami, which is like police and everything. In those groups that they are sent to oppress people, they are sent to like kill people in the protests. They, first of all, one thing I'm going to tell you, that some of these people are underage. They are arming 12 to 18 years old kids to go and kill people for sake of God, for sake of Islam or Allah or everything. And they say, okay, these are Murtad. Murtad means enemy of God, enemy of Allah, enemy of Prophet. And if you kill those, you be awarded in the afterlife, in the heaven or Behesh or Jannat in Arabic. So arming kids to do these is completely different thing than arming like soldiers to do these things. You know, kid does not have that development in the decision making part in that brain. So it's like, you know, just totally wrong. And there was accounts on Instagram that I saw that bastard was standing with a sniper rifle that, yeah, we suppressed what needed to be like suppressed. What did you suppress? You killed your own people? Good job, thank you. What the fuck? Okay? This is something for itself. And you know, human rights and UNICEF always absent. Bravo for those, always absent, you know. Iranian kids are also kids. Some of them are being abused in that way. Some of them are being executed. Most of them are being tortured, being held, being raped because they wanted to not think the same way as the regime, you know? And You know, recently, this is like much more recent. In 2023, I believe, or 22 it was, in the August, there was a big protests about hijab and women's rights. It was like woman life freedom movement. They killed Mahsa Amini, which you can see her, because she did not have hijab. And I swear to God, if someone comes in the comment section and says she had heart conditions, she was ill beforehand, I swear to God, I cannot say what I want to say because I have some limitations on this platform. But anyway, I swear to God, don't play this game with me. They killed that girl because she did not have hijab, and many years of killing other girls because they did not have proper hijabs. You know, I lived in the center of Tehran, which is like Enqilab Street and Vali Asr intersection, if you're from Tehran, obviously, no. So that region, you always saw the big black vans, the big like soldiers with like batons and everything, ready to capture a girl because she wasn't wearing a hijab. And nowadays, they are using women that don't wear hijabs as to show like, look how diverse we are. Oh, like, look, this girl is not like us. Not all of us like wear like hijabs or like, you know, the chador, which is like the black thing. I'm not sure what's the English name for that. But look how diverse we are. Bro, you killed a girl and many others 3-4 years ago because of hijab. You killed thousands in those days also because they did not have hijabs, you know? And right now, not having a job is totally fine. Not by law, but practically it's fine. You can walk on the street right now and no one is going to tell you wear your hijab again. You know how this regime, it may sound like a good thing, but it's not. It's using that. A few weeks ago, I believe also, that one of the official accounts of Iranian regime in Twitter or X posted a video from a cafe that it showed like girls without hijabs and boys and girls talking together and saying that look how everything is normal in here, you know? If that cafe was in like 3 years ago, that would be closed by government because of improper environment. But right now it's fine, apparently, because you know they use it. And also one thing that you seen on those rally, people with cars and Islamic flags and everything, same thing that some people tell me that you are getting paid by Israel. I mean, if they pay I'm not sure how I can get my payment, but no, I didn't saw any link that be sent to me that okay, create these and get paid. But you know, those people is actually a valid news because some of our far relatives, for God's sake, is doing that. And you know, far relatives, really far, really far, thank God, really far in Iran. And he is going that thing. And when we were calling like with a lot of VPNs and everything to get connected, because internet has been like more than 50 something days that internet is got, and he said they are going to pay us like 1.5 million Iranian toman, like 10 million Iranian reals every night if we show up, and if we have car it goes to like 70 million Iranian real or 7 million toman. It's just fucking insane. You know, I hear these things and you know, I say I cannot say anything. I don't know, I become speechless. The things I see is like completely different than what you see, because you know, I try to raise awareness and everything, and honestly many people came and talked to me about this in school, in public places, and every places, that my friends or people who knew me came to me and said, okay, like, what's happening with Iran and everything, and how is Iran going, like, how is it right now? And you know, I'm really happy that people are feeling some emotions for Iran, because you know, it's like, it doesn't matter if you are Iranian, Canadian, American, Israeli, we are all human, but the borders divided us, the governments divided us. There's no problem with the people, not in Israel. I don't care if you say Israel is a bad country, bad government, or good government, doesn't matter. People are innocent, you know, we are all just civilians, we just live under a flag. It doesn't mean that if our government is different than yours, we should not have, like, share emotions for something bad, you know. And I'm really happy. Just thank you to those who came and talked with me about this, you know, that really means a lot. And yeah, this was basically the whole propaganda system in Iran that regime uses to, you know, get what they want. And it's been a long time they are using this. So I just hope for the best things to happen for the people in Iran, because right now it's not a good situation in Iran. Even though there's a ceasefire, it's not like missiles are not coming anymore, but it's not a good situation in Iran. You know, people basically cannot live a normal life. Right now, like in nighttime, when everyone goes to sleep, I sit down and I watch YouTube and I do some paintings, or I write my diary, or I may read a book or something. But even watching that YouTube doesn't feel the same right now. You know, I'm not saying I'm depressed, but because it's been like a few months right now. But our lives are not the same thing anymore, you know? Doesn't matter if it's few months or few years, it's not going to be the same. You know, our brothers, our sisters, our compatriots being killed in Iran. They just killed like 100 and few people in the last month, executed them. So, you know, this is not a great situation for anyone and anything in Iran. Doesn't matter how much money you have or how much like connections you have. And if you have certain amount of connection, you can live okay, but price would be eating the blood of innocent people. But yeah, I'm talking too much, I think, about this matter. But you know, I become speechless. I just, at the end of the video, in even the last video, I ended the video but I started talking, because you know, I missed creating videos. I missed doing what I do, because you know, my editors, my designers are in Iran and there's no internet. And these videos, I edit these myself. And you know, people have not access to internet in Iran. They are being cut off from the world. And you know, it's really sad to see your best friend on the last scene in Telegram says long time ago, not like yesterday or 2 hours ago. You know, that's really heavy. The guy who used to talk to every day right now is like disconnected from everything, and jobs out the window and everything. I don't know. Let's just end this video. I can speak for eternity right now. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. It wasn't really something enjoyable, but I hope you liked the video. Please do the like, comment and subscribe and everything that all the YouTubers say. It would be fun, you know. I come here, I create content for you, and it's a deal. You give me like and comment and subscribe, and I give you great quality content, you know. Look at the picture. Look at the lighting here. Mwah. And thank you for those who watched till now. and for Iranian people who watching this. مرسی که تا اینجا ویدیو رو دیدید و تا یه ویدیوی دیگه. Until the next video. Bye now.